Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to episode 5 of the Grit Wrestling Alliance. Big card here today. We're starting off with a tag team match. It's a qualifier for the tag team title ladder match next week. We have Bubba Ray Dudley and Devon Dudley versus Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. So, like I said, anybody could possibly be in this match. We still have another qualifier next week, and last week Edge and Christian qualified, so it's a good start. Next, after Raven flipped out last week and attacked the referee, he's obviously wanting his hands on CM Punk and that title. CM Punk is after recruiting Jon Moxley to be his tag team partner this week against Raven and Tommy Dreamer. In their third match, Bryan Danielson versus Abyss. Bryan Danielson obviously really close there to beating Brock Lesnar last week. It was probably the best match that we've had in the series so far. Brock Lesnar kicked out of 2 bull cycle knees. Bryan Danielson kicked out of 2 F5s. It was just a crazy match. But he will be taking on Abyss this week. Next, the Great Khali versus Minoru Suzuki. The Great Khali, 4 wins in a row now. He has to be approaching on that number 1 contendership to fight Brock Lesnar for the title. And who knows, number 1 contender match next week, there's a very good chance the Great Khali will be in it. And in our main event, AJ Lee versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey beat Awesome Kong last week in a number 1 contenders match. So, it's going to be another interesting match. It's not the first time that these have met. They actually met on our last pay-per-view in a singles match, which AJ won. So AJ will be hoping to pick up the victory here again. But let's get into the show. So here we go with this qualifier match. It's going to be a very interesting match. I think I am controlling the Dudleys, and I think everybody can kind of see the direction that I'm going in. At the minute, we do have another qualifying match next week, which I believe is the Hardy Boys versus Sabu and RVD. So that's going to be another crazy tag team match. It's opening the show next week. I've already written out the card and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens though. Like, the Motor City Machine Guns could very well, cause an upset and earn their way into a title match. We seen that happen with Ronda Rousey last week. I was actually controlling Awesome Kong and I lost to Ronda Rousey, which I actually liked because it adds that little bit of unpredictability to the game. So obviously in our main event here tonight, we are getting Ronda Rousey versus AJ Lee for the title. Brock Lesnar defended the title last week against Bryan Danielson in a really, really, really close match. It was probably, like I said it earlier on the video, it was one of the better matches that we've seen so far. But it's crazy. Between the Brock Lesnar Bryan Danielson match and the Great Khali Chad Gable match, those are my 2 favourite matches that I've played so far. We have one more episode of Grit next week, and then we're heading straight into Stretch for Success, where we have the Stretch for Success ladder match, and every other title is going to be on the line. There is going to be more announcements for matches coming up in this episode of Grit and in the episode next week. We have a couple of number 1 contenders matches next week for our women's title. We have a number 1 contenders match for our world title next week, which two men that have been kind of dominating on Grit recently. I'm not going to ruin it because I really feel like, keeping it a surprise is the best option. Bubba Ray here. He will go to knock Sabin off the apron. Or Shelley off the apron. This is Chris Sabin. Alright, we're going for the cover. Devon Dudley. Self 3D. And the Dudley boys win. The Dudleys are going to Stretch for Success for the ladder match. Dudleys in with a great chance. This is actually their debut today. I actually haven't got the chance to use the Dudleys yet, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who wins the tag titles at Stretch for Success. It's going to be another amazing show. But let's get into our next match. Dudleys are going to be competing for the tag titles. Here we go with match number 2. Another tag team match, which is interesting. I am controlling the old ECW team here of Raven, Tommy Dreamer. For those of you who haven't seen, 2 weeks ago, CM Punk beat Raven in... It was a non-title match, but I think Raven was very upset afterwards. He hit the referee. There was a lot of drama. Next week, which was last week, CM Punk came out to cut a promo, and Raven came out and challenged Punk to a match. Punk said he didn't want the match, he wanted a fight, and proceeded to hit Raven with a microphone. So there has been, it has been brewing between these two. And the idea behind this match here is I just wanted to do something different. I wanted to kind of progress the rivalry, but at the same time not have it that, I didn't want to just put him in another kind of one-on-one match. And so I decided I was going to make it a tag team match. I kind of flicked through my roster to see who I'd have to team with either men. And I did decide to go with Tommy Dreamer for Raven's tag team partner. For those of you who haven't seen, the Ring of Honor rivalry from years ago, Dreamer showed up during that feud and stuff like that. And my original idea was I was going to put Colt Cabana with CM Punk, but yeah, I did opt against it. And I know that CM Punk still has a little bit of beef with Jon Moxley and stuff like that because of their time in AEW. Jon Moxley obviously good friends with a lot of the people that CM Punk had fallen outs with. But I did decide to put these two together because I remember when Jon Moxley went to rehab, CM Punk, to earn a match against MJF, needed to find a tag team partner to compete against FTR. And Jon Moxley made his return to help CM Punk. And obviously that led to the dog collar match between MJF and CM Punk at Revolution. So I'm not saying I want to do something similar, but because I'm really trying to win this with Dreamer and Raven. But the reason why I'm doing this is if Dreamer performs well here today, he might get a shot at Punk's title before Raven does, which I think would really rub Raven up the wrong way. And maybe it might, encourage Raven to maybe do a little bit better. Obviously, this isn't a number one contenders match or anything like that, but I still do think that maybe next week on Grit we might have to confirm Tommy Dreamer against CM Punk if the team of Dreamer and Raven win today. Dreamer obviously already had his chance at Punk. It was a non-title match, but still I feel, Dreamer going for the cover on Moxley. Moxley is easily going to kick out of this, but yep. But yeah, I feel like that's something that, in the direction that we're going at the minute. DDT. Dreamer needs to get up. We made sure I get Punk off the apron before we go for the cover on Moxley, and now we're going to cover Moxley and hope that this is it. 1, 2. Oh, it's a kick out by Moxley. Moxley really had to dig deep for that one. Kick out at 2. It's really all 4 of these men are men that I'm probably going to use in the hardcore division. I think Punk will step up to the heavyweight division when he does lose the hardcore belt, but in my mind he was the guy that I wanted to be my first hardcore champion. I had so many ideas for feuds for Punk, and obviously Punk is the main guy that I'm kind of telling stories with at the minute. We're seeing him and Raven go at it at the minute, and now Dreamer's getting involved and Moxley's getting involved, and it's funny because every man in this ring wants that hardcore title. And even Moxley, who's Punk's partner here. Moxley is eyeing something up. Oh, Raven or Dreamer gets out. Oh, clothesline. But yeah, even Moxley, who's teaming with Punk, I'm sure he's looking at that hardcore title as well. There's so many directions that we can go with this. And like I said, if Moxley does well here tonight, maybe Moxley will get the chance next week at Punk. If Dreamer does well, maybe Dreamer will get the chance at Punk. I think Raven is a little bit sour that he's already lost a singles match with Punk, but I still am swaying towards going to Punk and Raven at the pay-per-view. But on our television show next week, it will either be Moxley or Dreamer fighting against Punk. So we'll see who wins. I think it'd be interesting if Dreamer actually beat Punk before. If Dreamer beat Punk before the pay per view, and then we had Dreamer and Raven at the pay per view. Dreamer needs to go for a cover here though, and he does. Punk is still. Oh, he's getting up onto the apron. Oh, and it is a 3 count. Tommy Dreamer does pin John Moxley, and I'm getting word right now from Paul Heyman that Tommy Dreamer will be fighting CM Punk in a singles match for the hardcore title next week on Grit. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen from here. Obviously, Raven and Dreamer are good friends. Punk really looking to hold that belt. Will he start an alliance with Moxley? Who knows? But this is a really interesting story developing. Let's get into our next match. Here is Bryan Danielson 1 week out from that war with Brock Lesnar, taking on Abyss in a singles match here. Obviously, after losing to Brock Lesnar, Danielson's after being knocked down the list quite a bit, which, Danielson is going to be looking to earn his way back up here against Abyss. And like I said, last week was a really fun match. It was something that I was genuinely worried at times. Not worried as in terms of Danielson's going to have the title, because I think Danielson would be a great world champion for us. But I seriously thought that I was going to lose that match at multiple times. There was a couple of times where he hit me with a couple of finishes. There's a couple of times where he kicked out of my finishes, where I was genuinely thinking we have a new world champion here, and Lesnar's only held the belt for 4 weeks. But luckily Lesnar ended up pulling through and beating Danielson. But Danielson, with that performance last week, is he's really after gaining a lot of respect here in Grit Pro Wrestling, or Grit Wrestling Alliance. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes going forward with Danielson. Could Danielson challenge for the hardcore title? We will be adding another singles mid-card title soon, which is going to be our more technical based title. So maybe that'll probably be defended in submission matches and stuff like that. So I can really see someone like a Bryan Danielson, or even someone like a Kurt Angle, if Kurt Angle hasn't got his hands on the world title by then. Somebody like that really just stepping into that division and headlining it, and being the face of that division. We're really starting to kind of build not just a roster at the minute, but kind of build the promotion in terms of our weekly television and our weekly our consistency with having 5 matches a week, and our consistency with having certain feuds going on. We're obviously seeing a lot going on at the minute with AJ feuding with the likes of your Ronda Rouseys and your Shayna Baszlers. We're seeing CM Punk against the older ECW guys. He beat Sabu for the belt. His first match after winning the belt was against Raven. Obviously, he was beaten by Raven and Dreamer today, teaming with Moxley. So I feel like everything is starting to come together. And with our main event last week, it was a great, I think anyway, it was a great start to, the first month of this save has been really ideal for me. The only issue that I have been having is with the the technical side of it. It's still something that I'm developing, the creating videos rather than just playing for fun. That's the only side that I've been having trouble with. Uh, I still haven't got my PC fixed. I know I was meant to get fixed last week to edit videos, but like I've been editing on the PlayStation editing app, and Abyss is on a finisher right now, so we do really need to be careful. But Danielson did show his resilience last week, and here he's fighting back again. But Abyss counters. Danielson sweeps the leg. Danielson looking to go to the corner here. Calling for it. Calling for that Psycho knee. And he hits it. He go for the pin, but is Abyss in the ropes? No, he's not. Referee gets down. 1, 2. Oh, it's a kick out by Abyss. And that could be dangerous because Abyss is still on a finish. So this is something that we're really going to need to be careful of. We just need to make sure that he doesn't gain any momentum, and like we kind of stay on top of him and make sure that he doesn't gain any advantages like that. Yeah, we reversed the finish. Going here. Crossface. And we make Abyss tap out. Another great match there by Bryan Danielson. Last week again, Lesnar really unlucky, but I have a feeling it's not going to be his last chance at the world title. As you can see here, he's really stepping up his game. But yeah, another match down. Danielson with another win, and Danielson really proving himself. So who knows what's in the future for Bryan Danielson. Unlucky loss last week, and next week, you know, who knows? Here we go with our next match. It is the Great Khali versus Minoru Suzuki. Khali has been on absolute fire lately. He's just been unstoppable. Yeah, I feel like, you know, nobody's pinned Khali. No one submitted Khali. Khali's fought the last 4 weeks in a row now. And he just keeps dominating and keeps stepping up to the mark. So, yeah, no, I'm really excited to see how this goes. Khali in the corner, really putting the boot to Suzuki here. Big spine buster by Khali. Oh, went for the big overhand chop there. Oh, big battle here. Everyone knows Suzuki is one of the hardest hitters in pro wrestling, so we'll see if Khali can hang. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not great at these, and I lose these. I'd say a good 60% of the time I lose these. Like, I know some people are really good at them, and oh, a big overhand chop. That was one of the lucky ones that we won. Going for the choke slam here, Khali. Oh, just imagine falling that distance. Khali goes for the cover on Suzuki. Oh, Suzuki kicks out. Khali is squaring him up here and might be going for that vice grips. And the vice grips is locked in. I might have to let him out. I'm going to let him out. And I'm just going to cover him because he would have easily broken that submission. So, and he kicks out. A little bit more to do still. We're just taunting Suzuki here. This has been a fairly quick show so far. Like, a lot of the matches that we've had, I've expected to go a little bit longer. I think our first match was only something like 2 minutes. Our first tag team match with the Dudleys and the Motor City Machine Guns. I thought that might have went a little bit longer. Like, I think the average match that we have is probably like 6 minutes. I think our first match was like 3 minutes. I think our second match was like 5 minutes. So we're kind of flying through matches at the minute. But I think the Danielson match was kind of an average match for us, and this match here seems to be going some sort of a distance. It's not, exactly. Suzuki is on a finish. Oh, pile driver, Gotch style pile driver by Suzuki. We need to kick out of this one. Suzuki is pulling us to the middle of the ring here, going for a cover. Oh, and he kicks out at one. He's going to need to do more than that to put the great Khali away. Khali elbows his way out of it, and with a big boot busts Suzuki open. He is going to go for that Vice Scripts now. With that big boot, maybe he's after softening up the head a little bit. This is very, very intense here. He is going to get out of it. I just know he is. Sometimes it's just not even worth trying. We're just going to go for a cover straight away though. And we win. Great Khali with another dominant victory here. And I'm getting word from Paul Heyman that the Great Khali will be in a #1 contenders match next week to fight for the heavyweight title at Stretch for Success. His opponent hasn't been announced yet, but I'm sure whoever it is going to have a lot on their hands here facing Khali next week. This is the main event of the evening. AJ Lee versus Ronda Rousey. These two have only met once before here in Grit. They've met twice, but once was in tag action. AJ actually holds a 2-0 over Ronda, and it could be 3-0 here today if I manage to pick up this victory. I think a lot of people do know at this stage, but when I was playing the #1 contenders match between Awesome Kong and Ronda Rousey, I was actually controlling Awesome Kong, and I did manage to lose that match. So Ronda actually wasn't meant to be the #1 contender here, but that's the thing that makes the game fun, is it's unpredictable, and you don't know what way it's going to go, and I've been enjoying that aspect of it. Everyone's seen how close I was to losing the title with Brock Lesnar versus Bryan Danielson. I think a lot of people have seen how close I was to losing to Chad Gable when I was the Great Khali. So there's a lot of different aspects to this that are very unpredictable, and I lost to Ronda Rousey last week as Awesome Kong. I could lose to Ronda Rousey this week as AJ Lee, and I could end up the title could change hands tonight. Who knows? AJ mightn't even make it to Stretch for Success. AJ gets the cover, kick out by Ronda. Yeah, we will have another #1 contenders match next week. That'll be, I think it's going to be between Shayna Baszler and Awesome Kong, and the winner of that will go on to face AJ Lee at Stretch for Success. Well, go on to face the winner of this match at Stretch for Success. We're hoping it's AJ Lee because I'm controlling AJ, and it'd be a kind of a miserable title reign if she lost it 2 weeks. I don't know, it's actually, this is 2 weeks after she won the belt. It would be a very, very disappointing title reign, 14 days. But AJ is doing really well so far, and Ronda has obviously been very unfortunate, in terms of the booking so far. I know obviously she actually won the match that I didn't mean for her to win, but otherwise she's been taking a lot of losses, and that's something that will end up changing. I think I'm going to need to kind of put Ronda in with some less talented people. I don't actually there's been a couple of women, I have a couple of women on the roster I have not used yet that I might wait till after Stretch for Success to use, and use in You know, oh, AJ Lee has it in. I might use him in the build up to the next pay per view. Alright, I think, yeah, it's not worth my while holding on to this. Ronda is out. We actually made Ronda tap out before with AJ, and I think I might be wrong, but I think in the tag team match, I believe it was Cora that pinned Shayna. So, you know, Cora was unfortunate in the first ever women's title match. You know, she's definitely someone who will hold the belt somewhere down the line. You know, I think at the minute, like, I really did just want AJ to be kind of the face of our women's division. I'm really happy with AJ and Ronda, this kind of feud and rivalry, and like I said, this could go either way because Ronda has a finisher right now, and if that armbar gets put on, you know, we are in trouble. And as I say that, armbar's locked in. We cannot afford to lose this. AJ gets out. That would have been a disaster if AJ was any more hurt there. You know, that could have been game. I think people have seen, I think it was with Danielson, I had to use my resilience. Oh, we nearly won with that suplex there. But Ronda is on a signature, so we do really need to be careful. And as I say that, Alright, Ronda going for the slam. Okay, now we are effed. Yep, AJ kicks out. I needed to use that there because we were in big, and we still are in big danger. Oh, we reversed to finish it. Ronda has a red head now, so we can try lock in. Oh, I tried to lock it in, but I think it just got away. Oh, kick by AJ. This could be it. 1, 2, 3, and AJ retains. AJ with the first defense of the Great Wrestling Alliance Women's Championship. And, you know, another great show, like another exciting show. Like, a lot could have happened there. On a different night, Ronda could have put in that armbar and AJ could have tapped out. You know, it's up in the air. But yeah, I suppose we're going to wait and see going forward who AJ is going to fight at Stretch for Success. You know, we have a number 1 contenders match next week, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, other than that, we're looking all good. Another fun show. We're slowly moving forward. Thanks for watching, and tune in for the next one.